Hello, good afternoon. We are Cascade Peak Sellers, and today we are here to talk about our decision to export our fantastic wine product. So first off, let's go over an agenda. We'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. We'll provide a situational analysis. We'll also look at the implication for international business strategy. We'll also take a look at the supply chain, how we get our product over to the hands of our consumers, and then we'll wrap it up with a conclusion. So first off, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Again, we are Cascade Peak Sellers. Holly?
Hi, my name is Holly.
Hi, my name is Musalam.
And my name is Tim Oster, and not with us today is Joseph. Unfortunately, he's feeling a little under the weather, so he's not with us today, but he sends his best. So first off, who is Cascade Peak Sellers? So we are an Oregon wine producer in the heart of Willamette Valley. We do have excellent sales in our local market. Willamette Valley is internationally known for Pinot Noir, which is our marquee product. And we do have an organic Pinot Noir with sustainable manufacturing process. And sustainability is one of our top priorities. So what is it about Pinot, or what is Pinot Noir? Number one, we do use, again, organic grapes in a sustainable production practice. Pinot is pleasantly dry. It's non-sparkling. It's medium-bodied with low tannins, and it's made with the Vitis vinifera grapes that do really well in volcanic soil, which obviously we have in the Cascade range. The cost for producing one of our bottles of wine is about $10.91. As you can see from the list of expenses here, we've included kind of all of the different manufacturing costs associated, including with purchasing our grapes that we don't grow on site. So as we look at a situational analysis, we want to look at the wine market as a whole. The wine market is actually pretty large. It's $550 billion in 2024 and has a compound annual growth rate of about 6.1%. So you can see by 2030, the entire wine market will be up to $825 billion. Some of our key players or competitors are there on the left, including Treasury Wine Estates and Pernod Ricard. Some of the drivers behind the global wine market are rising urban preference for exotic wines, which is great news for us if we're looking to export, right? Willamette Valley wine will be seen as an exotic wine up in Canada and other countries. And then there's also an increased demand for alcoholic beverages as a whole. I think the pandemic really caused an increased demand, and that hasn't waned after the pandemic ended. Some of the restraints that we can see in the marketplace, there is a gradual shift in consumers that are going towards other alcoholic drinks. And we think this is due to the high price of wine. Wine does cost a bit more to produce, and it is a bit more per bottle than you might find of a cheap vodka or something like that. So that's one of the restraints that we have. So as we go over our SWOT, again, our strengths are the wine is produced in an area known specific for the wine that we produce. We do have a boutique product reputation, right? We're a small organization currently, but it means that we produce a superior product because we pay much more close attention to, every step of the process. We do have currently excellent sales in our region. Some of the weaknesses that we have is because we're still a small operation as compared to our competitors, we don't have the full infrastructure that some of the others do. The product quality is subject to some external factors like weather and climate. So if we have a bad year in terms of rain, or it's too hot one year, then our product could not be quite as good as other years. Some opportunities that we see is the target markets that we've looked at already enjoy wine. They've already got a fantastic market there, and I think that we can carve ourselves a nice little segment of that market. We can differentiate ourselves by being based in a wine producing region. And then we already talked about the worldwide market growth of 550 billion. Some of the threats, we are not the first, Oregon wine in the Canadian market. So some of the larger competitors that we have in the area have already exported to the areas that we're looking at. So, we're hoping that, again, our label and our organic process sets us apart. Again, wine can be seen as expensive, and consumers may be moving away from wine as a whole, as I mentioned on the previous slide. So now to talk about implication for international business strategy, I'll turn it over to Holly. Holly?
Okay, so with any market that you enter, there will be risks. Some of these risks include capital, climate, or regulatory risks. In order to lessen these risks, we did a cage analysis on the 3 countries that we ultimately chose to look into. The cage analysis measures the cultural, administrative, geographical, and economical distance. We did a 1 through 5 scale, 5 meaning it is the most similar to the US market, and 1 meaning it is the least similar. And as you can see, when we chose our countries, Canada, Mexico, and Austria to look into, Canada had the most similarities, resulting in a score of 41. Which is why we chose to go with Canada. So after conducting the cage analysis, we determined that Canada has the highest rate of similarities of the countries we chose. We feel confident financially making this move. There are some key cultural differences that were not similar to the US. Initially, we looked into tourism and entertainment industries. However, once we shifted our focus to the food and beverage industry, we saw a higher cultural similarity. Market interest in Canada, there is a general increase in wine consumption, as well as consumer preferences changing. People in Canada are consuming wine more regularly and are starting to consume it more on a social basis. Canadian wine drinkers also have a growing interest in organic and sustainable products, which is something that our market here in Oregon has as well. Which is another reason we feel confident in moving into that market. And then there are projected growth in still wine sales. So between 2018 and 2024, still wine revenue has increased 1.7 billion US dollars and is projected to grow another 1.2 billion US dollars between 2024 and 2028. Some other things to keep in mind is that we do have NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement, which limits tariffs and other barriers that make exporting to other countries kind of difficult. So our export strategy, we've chosen to direct or indirectly export through wholesalers and distributors. Which Tim will get into a little bit later. But just generally speaking, we feel like for the introduction to our international market, we would benefit most from working with people that know what they're doing. We also wouldn't have to worry about shipping via DHL, which is like ship cargo transportation, since we share a land border with Canada. The only taxes we would have to consider are the value added tax, which for Canada is a 5% tax. And then we would also have to we would also have to consider additional import taxes of 0.0187 Canadian dollars per liter. Now I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Musalam.
So this slide shows the key factors of our marketing mix and supply chain. Our main product from Willamette Valley, Oregon, and also Oregon represents our high standard of quality, set as $40 per bottle. Our price stays competitive, simultaneously allowing for profitability and being accessible to customers. Having international distribution centers situated within industry relevant locations like Austria, Canada, and also Mexico, we ensure the consumer's comfort due to the close location of the distribution center. Our promotional efforts to include targeted advertising on our website are addressed mainly to specific customer segments. So primarily, we utilize price competitive delivery with cold transportation and optimize supply chain operations to increase our shipping performance. And now we're going to go to the next slide. So in this slide, we address the critical financial and economical factors that are essential for our global business. The most important thing is to find funds. We will use the letters of credit from reputable institutions like HSBC, JP Morgan, and Citicorp, and also Merrill Lynch. Credit risk assessment is crucial because it covers GDP, exchange rates, and also inflation forecasts. Our sales and profit objectives correspond within our strategy, considering startup costs ranging from $12,000 to $37,876 for our distribution center. Moreover, our credit requirement is equal to $400 to $600 million for manufacturing and international distribution to credibly demonstrate our persistence in sustainable development, even though our first actual profit will likely have a negative initial profit margin. And now we're going to go to the next slide. To ensure we will run without problem and grow successfully, we need to have a solid organizational structure with job descriptions for everyone. We must recruit highly skilled workers with diverse knowledge and also experienced bases to deal with global markets and fulfill our strategic objectives. The effectiveness of communication and collaboration are to be prioritized among the company departments to support the invention, adaptability, and also the flexibility in a variable environment. Moreover, the firms can free up their non-care activities to allow for optimal resources and efficiency of operations. We can only achieve our goal if we assemble a competent team that can effectively implement our step-by-step strategy to go overseas. And now I'm going to pass it to Tim.
Thanks, Muslim. So I'll go ahead and break into the supply chain now. We've decided to work with an international distributor. The reason for this is they already have the connections and infrastructure as well as a sales team up in Canada, right? So effectively, we would ship our product to their distribution center, and then they would sell our product for us and then ship it from their distribution center, their warehouse, to the various retail markets. We are strictly a business-to-business organization. We're not business to consumer, which means we don't have to worry about e-commerce or anything like that. The cost is around $80 to $114 per case for that distributor to ship that product for us. That adds about $10 per bottle, which goes into our $40 price point for our bottle of wine, which still does provide us with a 45% profit margin. What's really great about working with an international distributor is it provides one location for us to ship to. So we don't have to go to all these different retailers. We can go to one location and one big shipment, and then they can take care of the rest of the distribution for us. We have chosen a specific company to work with. It's called Corby Spirit and Wine Limited. And what's great about this organization is they currently distribute about 21% of the spirits in Canada already. Additionally, they're affiliated with a global organization that may allow us to expand into other markets. So if we decide that we're successful in Canada, perhaps we can then look at, again, going into Mexico or even Austria, like we mentioned earlier. Lastly, their goals really align with ours in terms of sustainability. So they are always looking for ways to improve efficiencies and sustainability as they're getting our product into the hands of the consumer, which is, like I said, really aligning with our sustainable manufacturing goals. So in conclusion, we feel like we've made a pretty good case to move into the Canadian market. We, again, are having a 45% profit margin on each bottle of wine that we sell, working with those international distributors, as well as we've thought about all of the different risks associated with this transaction. I'll leave with just this one note. The reason we're really looking to expand is I was actually on a cruise ship in the Mediterranean, and I was in a little wine bar on this cruise ship, and they had these posters on the walls of all these different wine regions. And along with Napa, California, and Italy was Oregon, Willamette Valley, Oregon, which really made me realize we have a really unique product, and I think a lot of folks around the world would really enjoy drinking our wine. And so we're excited to get it into those consumers' hands. Thank you for your time today, and we hope you'll consider funding us. Thanks.